Hello everyone, hope y'all are doing well. This is 3D printed animatronic creature part 29, core editing. Well, I've come a long way. Now, a lot of these videos are old, because once again, I just document everything. And I'm just trying to, I'm still under the weather. I'm supposed to hear for my new drugs coming in for my Crohn's and this so-called, I guess it's some kind of skin thing, but it's attacked my hands and feet, so I should have something this week, hopefully. But but this is what I was working on. I'm trying to, finalize the so-called base plate, and for me to get it's kind of a foreseeing what I need to do to achieve this by molding the creature to produce a creature skin that is on this core, and it's going to be poured upside down. So I could go with sprue holes through the whole core itself, but I'm going to try to avoid that. And I'm going to go with more of a sprue method, kind of like some some of the things I've done over the 30 years of dental. It's you learn certain molding techniques, which is wonderful. And mold making is an art form, and it's precision. And but if it's done right, it'll work out good. But I mean, I've had failures, probably a lot of other people too. But you're just trying to work this out, especially when it's digital. But anyway, as you see here, I'm putting screw holes to where I feel like they need to be, but I still have, uh, as far as the measurement, to keep the measurement, and then these screw holes are going to be like 4 millimeter screws, and I got to make sure that the 250 millimeter is not crossed. And but as you see here, um, I'm having to remove the so-called block out shoulder area so I can have more space there for the silicone to flow in that area. I mean, it had space, but I felt like it wasn't enough. So it was about probably close to 10 millimeters right there that would give me, a little bit of elbow room, but, or shoulder room. But, but as you see here, this whole, I guess this build platform area here is 250 by 250. So that's my work area. And so I want to add these sprues, and I want to be able to have a big enough spout and kind of a sprue to where it has a reservoir on the top. And that way it'll flow. But in the sculpting, I will make indication points, kind of a cut line, I guess you'd say, sculpted on the sculpture itself to where you cut that sprue off so it'll blend in well, because that's going to be at the very bottom of the so-called animatronic skin. But as you see here, here's the first hole here, and it's roughly, I believe it was around 12 millimeters or so. And but it's going to be, poured upside down, like I said before, and then that way it will flow, and everything is at the highest point. You have the highest point as being in the front, but I could also use these back ones as pour holes if needed. But there's only going to be 3 holes here, and it's going to be in the center chest and these 2 shoulder areas. But so I basically just cut everything in half and mirrored everything. That way I can get this so-called, I guess the core base plate. That way it'll be, finalized. It's still not attached yet, but the only thing that I have to do, and I also cleaned out the core, animatronic core itself. It's all clean. And now all I have to do here, as you see here, I've copied this eye, and I'll show you the process. What I've done here, and some of the footage, I do document everything, but sometimes it just don't record, or I forget to press record or whatever. But I copy these eyes, just the eyelid area, to where the skin's going to attach to the eyelid. And that's going to be open, so that's the indication spot to where the eyelids need to stop. So I'm going to place these onto the core, and what I have done is I've transferred just the so-called base plate and the eyes, and the only thing that I have to do next is the mouth area, because it's open too. But I have to design it a way to where the so-called lip mechanism will grab a hold of the lips. But as you see here, since I kind of got the, finalization of the base plate, now I can really concentrate on making this so-called frame for the mother mole. And I'm just sitting here just kind of doing some sketches. Now, this is not final, because I'm going to also add screw. And this is going to be two pieces here too, but it's going to have some more of those 4mm, and I was trying to determine if it would be better to have larger screws and less holes, but and that could be changed, but as soon as I make the core itself and that base plate, that's final. So, but as you see here, I'm just going by from what I have is the core, but it really needs to be done with a sculpture. So I have a pre-sculpture kind of done that has no detail. It's probably I can only do so much high poly work in SketchUp, and I like SketchUp, man. It's as you see here, I got a workflow, and I enjoy it, but I can work fast with it. But it's just like, I just love the measurements of it all. But as you see, I have to make it to where I'm going to have room for the skin and room for the silicone that's going to be molding of the skin. So that's why I have to, and these frames are going to have a notch inside there also. When it has the shell covering the whole thing, it's going to have a shell cover that has locking points for the silicone to kind of pop in place. So when I stand it up like this, it won't droop. It's going to have something to bond to, and that would be the mother mold. But I can still be able to remove it from the mother mold, but I can still, place it back in. But it's coming along. It's just a lot of it's just foreseeing. But once again, I kind of, I'm not a big fan of narrating videos, but I've done a lot of them. But I just don't like to hear my voice, the southern accent, and hearing myself breathe. This is a cheap microphone and headphones, but it gets the job done. But as you see here, I got two pieces, and all I have to do is just put the screw holes and make sure my measurements are correct. But I can still make changes after I get a more, I guess the sculpture pretty much done. But and then I gotta add these lips, the so-called core lips, to the core, and then I got to copy that teeth area to transfer to here. And what I'm going to do is, after I get the sculpture done, I will remove the core that I'm sculpting on, because if I go ahead and try to make that like a big STL file, it's going to have, I gotta edit that. Or you could do one of them, I'm trying to prevent having a skin inside there, so I'll have an arrow. But as you see here, I just got a basic plain setup, what's going to be needed. This way I don't have to do any editing inside and removing all of that core, mesh. This way I can just transfer the sculpture itself and attach it to the so-called base plate, the eyes, and the so-called mouth area where the lip's going to be. But here, this is where I was talking about the little sprue reservoirs to where I'll sculpt a little cut line right there. And that way it will have something to pour into. And I have to, make this so I can have outside sprues instead of inside. And the inside sprue would be kind of long. And that way, if I might have trouble taking it off, and it'll be easier this way to just cut along this so-called shoulder area, and the center chest, the sternum area. But and this is a kind of a higher poly for a SketchUp to be able to handle. But you see what kind of dimensions I'm looking at as far as getting this, get ready to, I guess, start doing this, detail sculpting on it. But it's coming along. But I'll just transfer this so-called sculpture to this, and then I won't have to edit or remove the so-called core from it. It will already be done because and the eyes itself are already stationary. That's a that's a you know the main point, and I'll do the mouth too. But this is what I got done so far. It's coming along. It's just this is once again this is some older videos, but I appreciate y'all and thank y'all for all the nice comments and get wells but uh, thanks for the thumbs up and all the comments. It helps the channel. But I appreciate y'all and y'all have a great day and y'all have a good one later.